And what I'm thinking is I'm sitting here now, well, maybe this is my big break. This is my big chance. You know what I mean?
You don't just walk onto a network show without experience. Now, I know it's an old hackneyed expression, but it happens to be the truth. You've got to start.
The soul of Detroit.
I know. That's where I am, at the bottom.
That's a perfect place to start.
You asked it around your country around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might qualify them, Mel.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal, ML Elric, and I don't want to put any pressure on our guest. This is Erika Erickson, who's with us this week, brought in a special guest, Mike Young. He's a comedian. I just wrote 8 checks to the IRS, so make me laugh, funny man.
Oh, yikes.
What you got
Tough
for
time
Uncle
of the
Sam? This is going to be a tough room today because between the traffic, the IRS, Sean's not here, which is, that always puts me in a bad mood because
I know. We do miss you, Sean. We love you.
We look forward to seeing Sean. But Marc's here. And
Marc's here.
Eric is here, too. So maybe it's going to be okay after all.
It's going to be great.
Hey, why'd you have
The
to write
IRS special.
Yeah, why'd you have to write 8 checks to the IRS? This sounds
you
like
do?
a door I want to enter and find out about this.
Yeah, so...
And by the way, if you ever bitch about taxes, make less money. Just saying.
Put that on a bumper sticker.
I think after 5 years of podcasting, it's almost impossible to make less money than we make here. Which reminds me, this is a great time to become one of our soulmates. And for $5 a month, you can become one of our Patreon supporters. And we're brought to you by Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, who will help you figure out what to do with the money that Uncle Sam didn't take from you. We'll tell you a little while how you can avail yourself of Luke and Pinnacle Wealth Strategies services. And if nothing else works, you can always go to the Cadre Cafe, have some fun, have a beer, do a little feather bowling, listen to some music. Maybe you want to do karaoke. Maybe you're going to participate in the open jam. We'll tell you when and where to do all that. So, so it's not all bad. But as Sean would say if he was here, first he'd say, can I ask a question? It's like, what's it feel like to be a real estate mogul where you take money from poor kids in East Lansing? Well, first of all, there are very few poor kids in East Lansing. Their parents are all poor.
No one.
How long is this story, ML, before we get into
The answer is 2.
Marc's
Too long.
question?
Wow, Sean is here, and he's changed his voice. That's
Thank God.
He seems to be wearing a smaller sweatshirt this week, however. But
I know we have a guest.
Triple
and
XL.
We need to get to the guest, but I'm fascinated simply why you
Yeah,
had to
why
write
did
so many
you-
checks.
Were you behind or what?
No, so we have a couple rental houses, so each one has its own LLC. There's this podcast, that's its own LLC. I have a little publishing business called Watchmen Inc. that doesn't really do much other than have a bunch of Kwame Sutras in boxes. That's another LLC. I have
These all
5
made money, huh?
shares in DCFC. So then that generates a K1, which means I have tax returns to send to Detroit, the state of Michigan, the feds, Hamtramck, East Lansing, Detroit.
Oh, so you do it all yourself. That's why.
Yeah,
No,
I
no.
don't do that. I pay a guy.
Pay somebody.
Yeah. Bob Whitey is my accountant. He's great. He does it all.
How much
I'm
does he?
sorry I asked.
Yeah, and then
Not the answer I was hoping for. Not terribly excited.
Then I have 2 kids who still need somebody to do their taxes, and they owe some money, and so I write checks for them.
We wanted to
because
hear that you were
that's all I do.
embezzling, and then you finally had to pay it off.
Boy, I wish we had enough to steal. We just
True.
don't. So I got
I was
8
hoping
checks
more
going
like,
out
well,
today.
I'm a sovereign citizen, so I haven't paid taxes in 7 years, so I had to write 8.
Right, something like that.
Yeah, I was
Something
thinking
exciting.
it would really be a good idea to go onto one of the nation's most listened to podcasts and then testify against myself. So no, I won't do that. Maybe if I get on Rogan, I'll give myself up, but not for the soul of Detroit. We're comfortable being number 2 behind Rogan. It's a distant number 2, but here we are. So,
In a list of 2.
yeah, well, we're second out of 2, so still silver medal.
That's
Congratulations.
Not bad. Yeah, and with Mike, Rogan better be watching out, man. Mike is here because he got a gig coming up. I understand.
True.
And because he's homeless and it's warm here, so
By the way, you couldn't have. This is a perfect temperature. I could sleep or talk. This is great.
Talk in your sleep.
Freezing out
Well,
today.
I will talk about
somebody normally sleeps in that chair. That's Sean Windsor, and occasionally he wakes up to tell us about something being found in a vehicle. But he's not here, so yeah, we'd prefer you awake because it'd be a nice change for us.
Right. I mean, I don't know how you're awake. We were just talking before we went on the air, and you said you were what? How many cities were you doing on your tour?
23 out of 25. So yeah, I'm on West Coast time right now.
Oh,
I haven't
boy.
been up this early in a while.
Oh boy.
Although you usually get up early for radio anyway, no matter what city you're in. But yeah, I'm West Coast. Just got in last night.
Do you do that in every market? Do you go do morning radio? Because I didn't know comics still did that.
They don't do it as much, and it's crazy because I love doing morning radio because it actually moves ticket sales in cities. Like we still like even when me and Saget would be on the road, people would be like, "We heard you on the radio," but nobody was ever like, "We saw you on Instagram." It was a really strange disconnect.
Well, because Instagram, you fly by. Radio, you're there for at least a good 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and I just
get to
loved
learn somebody.
I loved hanging in radio and like getting to know I know all the radio guys, and you go to a ball game with them. It's like a whole world. I dig it.
Saget always did radio when he came through, and
Bob
one of
never
the
said
nicest
no.
guys.
Yeah, he never said no.
No.
Bob, he would he'll do any radio show to move tickets.
Yeah.
Even if there was only 5 tickets left to sell, he'd literally wake up at 5 o'clock and get on the phone for the radio interview.
Did you do the wake for Saget, that big wake that they did?
Yes, I did.
You were like, wow, we're talking about who's who in comedy. There.
Yeah.
What was
I was on that Netflix special. It was a tribute to Bob, and it was Chappelle, John Mayer, Stamos, Tim Allen, Byron Allen, all the Allens. It was a beautiful. It was a nice tribute for Bob. Mike Binder put it together. He's a Detroit guy.
Yeah.
To be honest, bro, I had a 3-minute speech. Binder cut it down to a minute and a half. I was pretty upset with Binder. I got to be honest.
Yeah, but Saget would appreciate that. It's still Hollywood.
Stamos had to have my back to get my
Stamos.
speech back up to like a minute and a half.
Stamos took some lumps in that.
Yeah.
Stamos has had some rough trips to Michigan. I don't know if you remember his UP misadventure with those women who accused him of all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't think.
But way to take a turn in the conversation.
I don't think he'll be
Yeah,
coming
what-
back to Michigan.
Was that Stamos or Rob Lowe?
Yeah, I
It
know.
was Stamos channeling Rob Lowe, I think. Although I think these women were over 18. But yeah, he's.
Stamos
Well,
got-
that's probably everywhere he goes if they're over 18, right? What happened?
He's allowed back in the state. He's played with the
he
Beach
was-
Boys here a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, he plays drums with the Beach Boys, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
It's quite.
That's random.
Yeah.
It's not really random though. He grew up playing drums. He grew up in Orange County. He was a big Beach Boy fan. Beach Boys came on Full House, and basically
Oh,
Stamos
that's right.
stalked
Okay.
him from that moment on.
Now
and just
I
was like,
remember.
"I'm gonna
I
be in
remember
your
some of this
band."
now.
That's the one where Dave Coulier wouldn't get out of bed for like 3 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, listen, to be real, I've worked with Stamos now, and and Bob forever, but I never watched Full House. It wasn't my show.
Oh, you're missing so
Not
much.
missing it. Sorry.
Oh, believe me, they would tell me, this was the number one show. I'm like, yeah, because it was about aliens, bro. No family comes in this happy.
Yeah.
This makes no sense, this
Well,
show.
how old are you, Mike?
Let's call me, I'm 52 on the East
Really?
Coast. I'm
Okay.
54 in Detroit, and I'm 44 in New York.
I'm a similar age, and I used to watch it like crazy. Maybe you're just a little too old for Full House when it came
No.
out.
It was on.
You were just too cool for Full House?
No, I was just like,
He
come
was a
on,
big
man.
Silver Spoons guy.
What about Family Matters? Don't tell
couldn't
me you missed
cheat
that.
on
Oh,
Ricky
Family
Schroeder.
Matters.
Did you miss out on all of TGIF?
No.
What was your show then?
What was going on back then? Was Magnum on then, or was that
That's
before?
before that, yeah.
What was my sitcom then? What was my I don't know, man. I think I
Cheers.
was. Cheers was my show.
Cosby Show.
Cosby, I loved.
Family Ties. All right. So
By the
you
way,
were,
Cheers. I already knew.
Family Ties.
I already knew watching Cheers. That was the most well-written show on television. You could tell.
Yeah.
That show was just high level.
All right, what shows have you written for? Are you allowed to say the E one?
Yeah,
Is that,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
'cause
No,
I know
I-
you're not. That's such a wild story, as to that you wrote for Entourage, but you technically didn't write for Entourage.
Yeah, I was an uncredited writer, so I had an office at Entourage. I punched up jokes. I was in the writers' room every day. Doug Ellen, the creator of the show, was a good friend of mine. So Doug was literally finished with show business. He did a movie that got tanked. He was about to move back to New York and literally work for his brother. And like he's got like a wealthy brother that had like some strange manufacturing company. He's like, the business is done. I'm done. I can't get a job. And his manager was the same manager as Mark Wahlberg. So Steve Levinson was both of their managers, and Wahlberg had a concept. He's like, what about a Hollywood crew, blah, blah, blah. And then Doug wrote the script. I was with him. HBO said no like 3 times. And they finally said, just give us fun and funny. And Doug went away by himself to Palm Springs, rewrote the whole script, came back, and they agreed to make the pilot. And so Doug and I, we met playing basketball, whatever. Just he was a stand-up, but he was just quitting stand-up and going full-time into writing. And so we became we were already, we were good friends. And he was like, take an office here. And I was under a development deal at ABC for a sitcom, and Tobey Maguire was like the executive producer. And so just contractually, I couldn't have like 2 jobs. And so I took an office, and it was probably the most fun 2 years you could ever have without officially having a job.
So what would have happened, say, if ABC found out you were doing that? Would they just cancel?
Well, you just can't do it. You can't. Yeah, you can't.
But what would
have
happen if they found out? Would you? No, I'm technically not a writer.
If they found out I was taking 2 checks, I mean, that's like I'm working for 2 companies. That's like you working for.
You can't do that.
Channel 4 and Channel 7 at the same time. You just
Were they really sue a starving comedian?
I don't know, but I wasn't starving at HBO's buffet. I'll tell you that. Doug fed me well. I was getting paid in food.
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire's funny. He wanted to do a comedy. How did that work?
I know.
Toby was Spider.
Frodo. He's like you're doing all short jokes.
No, Toby. He's not that short actually. He's like 5'8".
That's
for a guy.
I guess
he's a superhero. That's not bad.
I guess technically average.
I think he's average. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I'm
I don't
6'2",
see.
so
No. I don't mean his height. I mean him as an actor.
Is that why he had to kiss that girl
As a
upside
person.
down? He had to hang. Just
He's okay.
Line up with her lips.
That girl,
He was
Kirsten
so
Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. I'm sorry.
No, he's actually a very good actor.
I guess
Toby.
I don't mean as an actor. I should say
I loved him
He
as
doesn't do
Spider-Man.
it for me. He probably has. He's a good actor. I guess he just doesn't do it for me personally.
Yeah, you personally.
You like a more confident man. He was a little unsure
Soft.
of himself.
Yeah, maybe that's the
Sensitive.
unsure of himself. He needs to. I feel like there's more there, and he hasn't tapped into it.
What are you,
Right,
manager?
Kick the Green Goblin's ass. I don't
you
know.
gonna coach Toby in acting?
I will.
Well,
Took out
okay.
Doc Ock. He's got
He
some
did Wonder
skills.
Boys, Pleasantville. I mean, he's done it. He's done it.
Now
Cider House
I feel like
Rules.
a dick.
Cider House Rules.
Yeah,
I love.
he's
movie.
done a lot of really great things. He's been pretty good.
He's the best at playing wide-eyed, sad children.
Yeah, but what was it? We should have been
He's
a
got those
Hummel
puppy dog
figurine.
eyes.
Yeah. What made him think he was going to do a comedy? What was he just producing it, or was he going to star?
No,
in it?
we were actually all friends. We had like a friend group. We were
Okay,
all,
is this a friendship through basketball? Because you
It
mentioned you
is.
play
You meet
basketball.
people in strange ways, don't you? I have a feeling.
No, men's league basketball in LA 20 years ago was literally how you met everybody. Like,
Well, when you said you played basketball with Entourage, I'm starting to think, well, because Conley, and then that leads me to the Pussy Posse. So did you play against DiCaprio?
He was on my
Basketball?
team.
He was on your team. Did you ever just,
Yeah, that's
could
how
you,
we
could
all
you pass the
became-
ball towards his face, or would he not allow that?
There's no Leo wears a helmet. You don't touch that face, bro. That face.
And then
fed
I would
100
be the
people for
opposite and
20
go
years.
up into him and just touch his face.
Love his
Hi.
face.
You guard him, post up on him.
I would guard him.
He's tall
Don't
enough
touch
for you.
his face. Everybody.
Is
I
he
will
any
block
good?
him.
Has he got game?
He does have a post-up game. He's got a solid post-up game
He's not
because
terribly tall.
when he did Basketball Diaries, he had a
yeah.
pro coach coming over every
I
day.
was going to
What a great
say,
movie.
did Jim Carroll teach him anything?
That's right.
No, but he had a coach that ironically, I went to University of Arizona, and the guy that taught Leo basketball that would give him like the lessons went to U of A.
Oh, wow.
And so he would come over on a weekly basis and like give him some moves, but he wasn't like he didn't have a great jumper, but he had a solid post up move that it was tough to defend.
Who else was on
How
your team?
tall is he if he's got a post up movie? He wasn't.
It's not terribly
Or was he
tall.
just
6
posting?
feet.
He's just posting up on Maguire 5'8". I like
There
that
is
matchup.
so much manly, just competitiveness happening right
Why-
now.
why- you know,
it is
after-
hilarious. I'm
after
just going to let
Chauncey
that
Billups
go
didn't
and let
show
you
up.
guys go.
I figure I'll take
1
Leo.
minute, we
How
forgot you were
tall
here.
is he? But how tall was he?
I just want to point out it's coming from one person.
He all the women are like, how wide was he?
He could play. He
Who
could play.
else was on your
Okay.
team?
Nick Cassavetes, the director
Yeah.
of
Oh, yeah.
Notebook. Toby was on the team. Kevin Connolly was on the team. Lucas Haas, actor, was
Yep.
on the team. My buddy Chuck, who's now like Jamie Foxx's manager, and It all came from I was performing every night at the Comedy Store, and my buddy Chuck, who ran, this sounds crazy, but he ran the newsstand on Sunset Boulevard. So he would like sell newspapers, but also like sling weed out of the newsstand. But he was like a street guy, and he would come to the Comedy Store all the time and sit in the back, and we became buddies. And I hadn't met that crew at all yet. And one day he's like, "Yo, Young, you play ball?" And I obviously, I grew up in Southfield here. I played basketball my whole life. And I was like, "Yeah, I play." He's like, "We need a fifth." And so he brings me to, it's called the Gem Center on Little Santa Monica one day. And I walk in the gym, and literally the team is exactly who I just said, is Leo, Connolly, Cassavetes. And so I'm kind of like a little nervous, but I was one of the better players on the team. So they kept me on the team, and then we just all became friends and just had a super fun ride with the entourage of the entourage. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
It was like the most fun a kid from Southfield, Michigan could ever have, ever.
So when did it end? Or is it
It's still going,
on?
bro. I was just at Leo's 50th
Okay.
2 weeks ago. It's not ending.
But I mean, you guys still play on a
Since he
regular
retires,
basis?
I retire. We retired into pickleball.
Oh,
geez.
really?
Okay.
Yeah, we play some pickleball up at his house. But he still has, he has a full court that's like a half court size. So we play a lot of ball up at his house, and we play against Wahlberg's crew. It was like a real entourage thing going on.
It's pretty competitive. I mean, it's.
Well, Wahlberg was like South Boston. He had like a rough.
Yeah. You ever
rough
take a
back-
charge from one of the Wahlberg boys? I can see them going hard to the paint.
No, but I did almost get in a fist fight with his chef, who I didn't know
This chef.
in the game. Like I didn't know it was his chef. We
Oh, in
just,
the game, I thought it was over food or something. Like you just.
No, we were like hyper competitive, and like his chef elbowed me in the chest like really hard, and I was like, "Damn, this kid's strong." And next thing I know, we're like at center court, squared up to fight, and like my crew, who's a little softer, you know what I mean? Leo, Toby, we're not super scrappy, but Wahlberg's like a bunch of South Boston,
I mean,
semi-criminal
this
white
sounds like
boys.
a show.
The Funky Bunch.
I would watch the show.
The Funky Bunch was there.
Yeah. Why not do this as a show?
What, men's league basketball?
Yeah, I mean,
Just-
white men don't jump it okay.
Like
Why
a
don't you
reality
have-
show.
A reality show, actually. But I mean, would Leo want to participate in that? Yeah.
Zero.
I mean, his
chance.
girlfriend's
No way.
like 18, so.
She's in her 20s.
Well, wait till she hits 25. She's gone.
They've been dating for 10 years. She's in her 20s. So,
She is 25, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
So that's
Clock's a
interesting.
ticking.
That's interesting. You say you're a little nervous because you walk into this basketball game, you don't know who to expect, and it's some pretty big house. Do you ever get starstruck still? I mean, is there anybody you could run into that would be like, "Oh, wow, that guy's larger than
Marc.
life"?
Yeah.
No, because the most starstruck I ever was I met Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And that was like, that dude had like an aura about him that was crazy. And that was,
Murderous.
no,
I'm j-
angelic, not murderous. He was like another being.
In the ring, though, he'll kill you.
no, that's what I mean. I didn't mean like he actually.
Yeah.
It's not
I
OJ.
No. But by the way, I met him when he was, the Parkinson's had set in pretty heavy. But he was still like hitting the heavy bag and working out. Like,
Did you want to punch him and knock him out just to say you knocked out Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, I'm 1-0 with Mark Wahlberg, chef. You want to go, champ?
No, Ali. We took a picture and he put my hand on his chin.
Yeah.
Like I would never
yeah.
touch with his face, but he like placed my hand on his chin and so the picture's like of me like this, and I'm like this. I was not comfortable fake punching Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
But he was still funny. He's like, "Want to hear a joke?" Like he could barely talk, but he was still
to
funny.
a comedian.
No, he goes, he like whispered to me. He goes, "Want to see me levitate?" I swear to God.
Yes, I do.
And
I
I go,
do want to
"Yes."
see that.
And he just got up on his tippy toes, and he goes, "There."
And then you had to pretend like it was amazing, or like,
I mean, he was just still
thanks,
funny.
goat.
He was just funny. He was just like still telling jokes, and he would like, he'd shake, but he was like, when he hit the bag, he didn't shake. So he would like hit the heavy bag and move around a little bit. And
Oh, I think your experience with Mike Tyson was the murderous experience.
I met Mike Tyson. It was the opposite of that. Yeah, it was Mike Tyson. I just met him in a hotel lobby in Vegas one time, and he was like, "What's up, white boy?" And he kind of like, in a fun, playful way, smacked me on the chest, like thumped me.
It probably hurt.
But my exact thought was like, oh my, if he wants to right now, he could just slap he could just slap me.
Yeah, you saw
He's
The
got that-
Hangover. You know what he can do.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that energy. Like his energy was just crazy. I was like, this
How
could
long
be
ago
good
was
easily.
this?
That was like 18 years ago.
Okay, so he was still a little.
So this is
Rough.
before he got beat up by Jake Paul.
This is before he found weed.
Yes. By the way, so many
Calm down
people
a little
find
bit.
weed and chill. So many killers.
Yeah.
We need to give weed to the prison system.
Yeah,
These guys chill out on weed.
I know.
As soon as
I
he
mean,
found weed, he
it-
was just
It's
a
been
different
magical
person.
for Tyson, and it's a new line of income for him too.
Yeah, they should do the prison farms. They can go out there and cultivate it. I mean, keep them off the streets, keep them working, productive.
That's the show, man. Do they have that?
Prison weed,
No, prison farm.
prison farm.
Prison farm.
The prison farm's genius.
Well, the beginning of
Well, I went a different way accidentally in my mind, but
Yeah, no.
yeah, no,
farms,
You're
yeah.
thinking of
He's going
Oz.
cheap
Yeah,
labor.
That's
just
no,
so many
cheap
gross stories we
labor.
cover all the time.
I'm thinking all the Burt Reynolds movies that involve prison farms. He was in a prison farm in Longest Yard. He was in a prison farm in, I think,
Smokey?
Gator. Oh, was he in a prison farm in Smokey and the Bandit? Okay.
I just made that up.
Well, that would work for the prison farm if they're cultivating weed.
No, clearly,
Smoky
nobody knew.
Bandits, you could call it. It'd be perfect.
Oh, for cr-
And Jerry Reed, you could have him Jerry Weed. This thing writes itself. Can I get a room at your place, Mike?
I got you, bro.
I
Let's
do need
start
to
a
be
writer's
credited,
room.
though.
Don't offer that.
And I got a sick
You'll
post
regret
move
it.
too, by the way.
Sick post up.
Yeah, I'm the lord of the boards. You can use me.
Are you?
You can use me.
Yeah, I don't bang. I haven't played ball in like 2 years, but I did start playing hockey again.
Oh, there you go.
Well, we'll get you out.
Southfield House League.
We'll get
Shout
you
out.
out in Troy in the summer.
Are you
Clark
skating?
Park. Yeah.
Yeah, he-
every Thursday in the spring and summer, 9:30, and then we do a charity game in Southwest Detroit in January, February. Outdoor hockey every year.
9:30 a.m. or p.m.
p.m. Yeah, no, I'm on LA time too. I can't do 9:30 a.m.
I would actually talk about that because I got my skates out. I'm ready. I just did 5 days for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I just did. I performed for the Mario Lemieux Foundation.
Is that why they didn't make the playoffs this year?
Yes,
Damn it.
it's my fault.
No, that's good. We don't like the Penguins here in Detroit. I watched them win Game 7 at Joe Louis Arena, so screw the Penguins.
That's funny. I took a road trip during that series to Pittsburgh with my buddies, and as like I kind of wanted to like test out human behavior, and I wore my Iserman jersey to the
Oh,
Pittsburgh
God.
Stadium. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Within 20
Well,
minutes.
it's
girls-
Iserman,
was it-
that's why.
No,
Or was it just the wings?
the Wings?
Okay.
It was a rough stadium. It was a rough arena. Girls were fighting me. You know what I mean? Like literally, my jersey was off in the second
You
period.
loved it.
Is that
No, I
is that
actually
the
was
new
scared.
arena or the old one?
Old.
The Igloo?
Yes.
What was that like inside? That thing looked weird as hell from the
Bro,
outside.
that shit was covered in black mold. It was,
Okay.
Yo, it was
Like the Joe.
It was not a healthy arena. You could feel it.
Or the old
like, how
Boston
they skip-
Garden. They had shit hanging from the, like streamers of crap hanging from the ceiling at the old Boston Garden because it was 100 years old. I mean, friable asbestos. I don't know what that was, but never held the Bruins or the Celtics back.
So,
I went to the Wings game last night.
6-4,
Last
right?
game. Yeah, last game of the season.
Yeah.
lousy season.
Well, last game of the season was about a month ago, but yeah, they still have to play it out. Very, very disappointing for the
I know.
side.
To be a classic, legendary team and be going down this road.
with a legendary guy as your general manager who the
I
fans have turned
know.
on.
I know. I'm not. I refuse
same,
to.
Same thing happened to Dumars, right?
I refuse to turn on Iserman.
Well, Dumars brought him a championship before he
True.
flamed out.
True.
So,
And he
so
flamed out
Iserman's, yeah, we need to get that going. So, Mike, it sounds like 9:30 p.m. on Thursday. You'll be doing a 1-hour set at Troy with me and some ankle benders. But where else are you going to be?
9:30 a.m. Not,
PM,
not,
PM, sorry,
Oh,
PM.
okay. 'cause
Yeah, you're stuck in that now.
By the way, I really am going to inquire about this hockey league because it got
Yeah.
me so fired up to play again.
Well, this is just pickup in the spring and summer. We just do.
That's all I need.
Yeah, we just do lights and darks until
You know you're stuck in this now.
until September.
There's
so
no backing
we'll get
out.
you out there.
No, bro. My skates are in the trunk. I'll go to Oak Park right now and skate at the old Oak Park Arena.
Field, yeah.
I'm all house league. I'll get back into an adult house league.
I think they got an Olympic sheet out there, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the legs for that anymore, but
Well, before that, you do have a show.
yeah.
You do have a show.
I
that
do.
you got
I do.
coming
My
up here.
show is Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, Wednesday. That's tomorrow at 7:30. I have
And this
no
isn't
idea
part
who
of
else
your
is-
tour. This is just you.
This is just me. I wanted to just like work on some new material, bring out notes. I might bring a guitar for no reason. I just wanted to like sometimes you get stale as a comedian with your act, just your same act. And
I
you
see
wanna-
that all the time, and it's frustrating.
I love seeing a comic when they're working on when they have the
New
notebook
stuff?
when they're working on new stuff because
It's so
Yeah.
fun to see.
90% of it's not going to go well.
and it's not going to go well sometimes, and and I'm prepared. But I kind of wrote out all my notes on a whiteboard, and I'm just going to put the whiteboard on
Yeah,
the
do
ground
it.
because I need to just get uncomfortable again. Because that's really when you grow as a comedian, is when you get uncomfortable and you start doing stuff you've never done. And I already know what works because it's been working for years. And now I've just got so much new material that I have not
Can you give us a little bit?
of the new material.
Yeah.
No, you got to go out Wednesday.
Oh, come
gotta-
on. Just a little taste.
Little taste.
Yeah, I've
said-
been
oh.
testing out new material for years on this show and dying. So it's
always.
you know.
Yeah, you do.
This
workshop
room
a
has
lot
been
here.
prepared for you. I've warmed it up for you.
I'm trying to get I've been just gone through different stuff over the last few years.
You don't
It's been
have to, but
Like I'm disengaged. You don't know how I was engaged. I got disengaged. I'll talk about that. My mom still talks to my exes. I'll get into that.
they're still friends.
Well, I'm just like, yo, you gotta end this. Like, stop. She's like, she's my friend. I'm like, I'm your kid. Well, I can't do anything about that. You know, my mom's like a fiery person.
As long as they don't both agree you're a bad kisser, then I think you're okay. But if that's
God.
if
And then
that's
he
what
takes it there.
if that's what brings them together, then I think you got trouble, Mike. I think you got some real trouble.
Hey, man, you want to do a tight five and open up at Ridley's? What do you got going tomorrow?
I will set a low bar. I will say
Yeah.
they'll be like,
The
get,
crowd- the
get
crowd-
Young out here. Let
That'll
him
be
die.
the opposite of warmed up.
Yeah.
They'll be,
This
they'll
will
be
be like-
disengaged.
This would be like genocide. White Mikes who can't play hockey very well dying at Ridley's. Oh, maybe you're a good hockey player. I shouldn't put you in that category yet.
No, I'm not. I cannot call myself a good hockey player anymore. I was a good hockey player as a kid, but now I am slow-footed. I'm soft. No, I am not. I've played with good hockey players, and for me to call myself a good hockey player, I'm just not comfortable with that.
You're going to fit right in on Thursday night, I guarantee you. So what's it like when you die up there? Because and this is going to take me a minute to get there, so bear with me.
Listen. Let me say something.
Take way
I'm
more
not.
than a minute.
I'm not in a rush. We can hang.
All right.
I'm not in a rush.
I've got a daughter who suffers from severe anxiety and occasionally depression, and she wants to be a comedian. I'm like, how is it that you can't get out of bed? But
Oh,
you
I
can-
didn't know she wanted to be a
You
comedian.
can get up in front of people. In fact, we have a backyard beer party every year. She's got up and done a set in between the band.
That's just a different kind
Yeah.
of anxiety, though, isn't
And
it?
well, she can do it, and I'm like, well, this tries. I can't believe it. So I was listening to something on the radio where a comedian was talking about bombing, and he said all the great comedians have to bomb, and he would go back and read their stories about bombing or watch them bomb, and he said, if you don't do this, you can't be a comedian. Which to me, I'd be like, if you suffer from anxiety and you bomb, it's over, right? But
No, I think that applies to life. I think that's in public speaking. I think that's in our industry. I think everywhere. You just have to fail, right?
the folks at Channel 4 will tell you about me bombing and failing. There's plenty of examples
I think
of
the
that, but-
difference in bombing and failing is when you bomb, you're doing it in front of people. In front
Well,
of a
yeah,
crowd,
it's a
and you
lot
and
harder.
it's immediate feedback.
But then it's almost better. It's not
To bomb?
while it's happening.
No, there's
terrible.
absolutely no worse feeling
It's terrible.
than bombing in a comedy set on stage, and because you're anticipating a gang of laughs and nothing comes at you, and you sit for a second and you go, am I having a heart attack or will I be depressed for the next year? It is a terrible feeling.
So how do you
But
recover?
Because you get an attitude after, and you're like, I need to get back on stage immediately and fix this. Because listen, sometimes it's you, sometimes it's the crowd. But it happens to everybody, and it is
Because you could have the same joke, right? And you could go to a different crowd and it won't be as funny. And you could go, right?
No, because everything matters in comedy. Like everything. Like if you're telling a joke and somebody clicks their fork against a glass at the exact moment and 8 people in the corner heard it, it affects the whole crowd. So there's nothing harder than stand-up comedy. So kudos to your daughter for doing it. It'll probably help her anxiety in a huge way for the rest of her life. But there are a lot of comedians that are like anxious off stage. And when they get on stage, that's just their comfort zone. Like tons of comedians are socially awkward. it's like the funniest thing. Like I came up at the Comedy Store. I came up, my class was Sebastian, Brett Ernst, Bobby Lee, all those guys, Butch Bradley, Tony Rock. These were my class of comedians. And as tight as we are, as a fun crew to hang with, everybody's got like their social weirdness. Sebastian, we would go to radio, like we were on tour together. We go to radio, he wouldn't talk. And they're like, why isn't he talking? And he was like sweating, and he had massive like social anxiety.
Weird.
So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of actors, people in TV that you're just like, and they can't public speak.
Yeah, because the stage is your comfort zone.
Right.
You're just because you're not really talking to just, you're really just in therapy on stage. It's your singular therapy session, and you don't care who's, you know what I mean? And the therapist is the audience. And when they laugh, you feel so much better. So it is a strange dynamic, but everyone's bombed. I've watched Chris Rock bomb at the Comedy Store multiple times, like working on his new special, gearing up for the Oscars. Like I've watched Chappelle bomb at the Comedy Store. I opened for Chappelle 14 shows in Northern California, and you see it all. It's like the leveling of the playing field. It's the craziest thing.
That guy has no fear. I remember seeing him
None.
I know.
at Eastern, and he was up there for 2 hours because 45 minutes was a set, and then the next hour 15 was him kind of workshopping stuff and spitballing it, and it was amazing to watch.
He's brilliant.
But he would lose the crowd because 2 hours is a long time for anybody to be sitting there. And people would get up, and he's like, no, go, leave. He's like, I don't want you to stay if you're not enjoying this. Go. Like,
Get the boo birds out.
Yeah. It's like,
Let's just stay with the pros. What's Chappelle like? I mean, do you guys spend much time backstage, or is it like you did your part, you go to your room, he does his part, he goes to his room, everybody goes home?
Dave was super, super cool. He would, I was the opener, so he would like, take me to dinner, and, we'd go hang out and have drinks after. But this was before like he became kind of like Super Dave, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he's on another planet now, going out, doing his thing. He's hopping on private planes
Well, anything he says gets dissected immediately by social media too, which would be annoying.
Yeah. True, but I knew he was a genius just working with him those shows in Cali. Like you just could see his mind. He's a brilliant guy. You know what I mean? Dave is crazy well read. You know what I mean? He's crazy articulate. He sees the world in a really different way, and his style changed. He was like funny, hey, it was, zippity beep bap.
Yep.
In his early days, and then he went into like the philosophy period of his life, and now he's like, Mr. Philosopher. And Dave he's a one of one type of dude. I don't always agree with his thoughts on the world or how he sees things, but
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it's funny.
yeah, and he's genius. I mean, he's one of those dudes that like, how could he walk away from 50 million? It's like if he wants to make 50 million, he'll just go on the road for a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he'll just say, I
Right.
feel like making 50 million, get the plane.
Now, when you're opening up for one of these guys, they say, go out there and have a good show, but not too good of a show, because you're here to set me up, brother, not to steal this one from me.
Oh, but they want everyone to kill.
They want you to kill.
I was going to say,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And they want you to kill because you're taking the bullet, you know what I mean, while the crowd's getting settled, not everybody's in their seats properly yet. Like you're taking the bullet. So they want you to kill so that by the time they get on, the crowd is like ready to, just fully ready to laugh. Their energy's up. So they don't want you to bomb at all. That's not good for anybody.
So what happens if you have a bad set? Do you walk backstage and like, okay, man, you got him in the wrong mood for me. That's not what we're looking for. I mean, is the opposite happen where they're like, dude, you're not killing. You got to get the hell out of here.
Well, you're not going to be on that tour if you do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you will get thrown off. But I've been lucky enough to, have good sets for Dave, and I opened on the arena tour a lot of shows for Sebastian. I got to play Little Caesars with him.
Wow.
And so, yeah, a bunch of places. So you know what you can do.
Okay.
And like I opened for Sebastian on his special, and he wasn't ready. I didn't know he was backstage.
So you get a fill for?
So I was like, thank you. And I get off stage, no joke, and his manager's right there. She's like, you got to go back.
Oh my god.
You got to go back out. So
there's,
here I am.
there's the first thing you talk about.
Yeah, here I am at the Beacon Theater. I'm just like, ladies and gentlemen, I got another few minutes. Just everybody chill out. Here we go. And like I had to go back and do like another 10 minutes.
Now, when he did,
That was weird.
Do you have 10 minutes in your back pocket? It's like a minute ago when we were talking about Raquel Welch, the rabbi, and the priest going to the bar. You know why that was funny, right? Do we need to explain it? Or do you have like, here's my B material?
No. I got.
You got hours.
I have an hour.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when you open for those guys, you only do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm just.
So you've got stuff ready when that
Yeah.
happens.
Okay.
But
Now,
yeah, that's
Sebastian-
awkward because the timing's all, everyone's ready.
Yeah, that
That's
never happened. That
awkward.
was the only time that happened. I think
Yeah.
he was probably in the bathroom. Like nobody said what it was. But then she was like, Sebastian's
Shooting
not
up.
ready. You got to go back out.
Yeah.
Now that tour, was he in the
Taco
round,
Tuesday
like, of an
tour.
arena? He was right in the middle, right?
Theater in the round.
So when you do stand up like that in a huge theater, I mean, do you get the same? I mean, the reaction's going to hit differently from the crowd. I mean, do you even know if they're listening?
It's very interesting theater in the round because you kind of have to deliver your joke, and it's like as soon as the laugh hits, you turn to the left a little bit, and then you start delivering like this.
You
got
have to think about that.
You got to find a rhythm, even though there's jumbotrons where they can catch every angle. So if like this crowd back there isn't seeing you, they can look up and see your face. But as a live performance, yeah, you've got to turn and like kind of adjust.
But
so
when the
that
jokes
was
hit,
strange.
can you tell that they hit, or is it because the crowd is so far away?
Oh no, you could feel the hit.
Okay.
Oh, the hit on the like Little Caesars, that was like the craziest. It takes a second because sound travels slower from back there, but when 22,000 people dig your
That's
joke,
wild. You probably
it was like, oh no, I
want to
got
bottle
off,
that feeling.
I bottled it.
Damn.
I got off stage and I literally said out loud, "I'm a motherfucking pimp."
Even those extra 10 minutes.
I literally said that out loud to myself,
And that's when Sebastian's manager said, he needs 10 more minutes. Can you go back out there? Like,
and I went right out,
All the
shirtless.
Mike, how do you feel about working the crowd? You know, picking somebody
crowd
out
work
of the
comedy?
crowd. Well, because I was.
It's so hot right now, crowd work comedy. And the comedians I see that do it then aren't very funny not doing it.
I'm not a fan.
Not really.
Don't get me started on prop comedy. Oh, I could barf.
Prop comedy, I don't mind. I don't
prop
mind
comedy's
that as
not
much.
bad if you could do it.
If you can do it, then
Okay, listen.
show me a good one because I
Steve
haven't
Martin?
seen any.
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top is horrible.
Carrot Top is
Oh my
unbelievable.
God, he's terrible.
He is one of the best.
He is.
Is he a
if you
good
ever
ball
see him
player?
live, okay, I'll say this. He's kind of a jerk
I
when we
can't
had him on.
stand him.
Like
Okay.
as a person.
Yeah, as a person, I
Not-
never
not
met
my
him.
speed,
But as a performer, I mean, it's a different type of comedy, and it's fast, and it's.
Listen,
I mean,
you don't get locked into Vegas and
If you don't,
sell
yeah.
out every single show for 25 years.
Then
if you're
I don't
not good.
understand the people who think he's funny because I just do not think he's funny.
You might hate his crowd more than you hate him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But listen, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But I can't say as a comedian that Carrot Top is bad because he chose to be a prop comic and he did it at the highest level.
Okay, but then,
Agree.
Then,
I
then
think
you have
he's funny.
crowd. You have crowd work comics like Matt Rife, right? The guy comes from TikTok.
I think he's funny.
I don't get
He's
it.
probably annoying. I think he's.
I don't get it because
That's
it's
the great thing
just-
about comedy. There's we all like our certain people.
But you're just picking on, not picking on people in the crowd because they know what they're there for. It's just not terribly funny because he's creating the scenario. I think a lot of it's phony too. I don't know. Why don't we ask the comic in the room?
Matt Rife does crowd work pretty well.
And he's very successful too. So people
Yeah, he's
like
killing
him.
it, and he's actually a nice guy. Matt auditioned for Stealing Jokes, like
did he?
my new movie. He
Yeah.
did, and of course my dumb ass. I mean, I didn't hire
No,
him.
you didn't hire him, and he.
Who's playing the role of handsome young guy?
By the way, it's Luke Null who was on SNL for a year.
You
and
guys
he's
have fun because
actually-
I got to run.
He's
Okay.
hilarious. Bye,
Yeah.
Erika.
Hi, guys.
I'm looking at his
Thanks for having
picture. I
me.
know who he is.
See, Erika,
I'm afraid to.
we'll see you
What's
again
going to happen
soon.
after I leave?
We're going to talk
no,
about
no.
how terrible your favorite things are. Like Matt.
It's we're starting the Carrot
would
Top
never.
Appreciation Society as soon as you clear the room. We just don't have.
And
the
I'm the
nerve to-
president.
That's frightening, and I'm never coming back.
I'm
then.
a little worried about the merch. That's my big thing.
No, but listen, I'm not a fan of like crowd work as your only thing. That's
Yeah.
not comedy. That's not stand up.
Okay.
You've got to write bits. You've got to do comedy. But I'm not mad at the guy for making money doing his thing. I'm just not one of those dudes who like. I don't hate on successful dudes. If we have a problem, then we have a problem. I'm not like an overall hater, but you know,
there's plenty of other comics out there that are jealous, and they're not very good.
Totally. And I'll say this, like, if you want to be a comedian, don't think you're going to have a run as a crowd work comedian only.
No.
Matt did it. He struck lightning with it. You know what I mean? He found lightning in a bottle. It killed for him. I don't think there's any other comics right now that are going to like take that spot.
I think a lot of that though is from TikTok and short clips, and then when you get a special, it's a lot harder to do that and stretch it out to 30 minutes.
100%.
And it's not good.
Well, imagine you have to be good on your feet too, right? Because you don't know what you're going to get when you get there. Although I'm sure there's some things that work every time because there's always somebody who's there with a date, and there's always somebody there who's laughing at the wrong time. But
I'm glad.
But that feels like a lot of work just to kind of live off the land like that for an hour and a half or 2 hours.
But you can't. That's the point. You can't do that for that long.
It's a great muscle to have. It is a great muscle to work because all it is just like another muscle to work. But like, the crowd work muscle is good to have in your pocket, right? If somebody yells out from the crowd, you know, can you come back quick? But to make it your whole act, to me is a little strange. But Matt's actually got jokes, and he's in the game, 17 years as a comedian, so he's not new.
No, I wasn't trying to set you up to bag on him or anything, but I don't get it. I don't get crowd work comedy as a whole thing.
Well, like you said, the TikTok generation of comedy is not good. It's just not. Like the short clip, bit, and when these guys try to go do an hour or 45 minutes, you can see right away you don't have a good hour, bro. Like, I'm not going to name names, but you can see some specials out there that are dudes that came from like the TikTok or the YouTube world, and they are not good quality for an hour.
But then there's the flip side of it. And you don't have to, if you don't want to pass comment on it, because I feel like there's a lot of comics out there that don't do sets. They're more like TED Talks.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll name one name, the Hannah Gadsby, and critics love her, but I don't know anyone that finds her that funny. And I'm like, maybe we're just not the demo.
Yeah, you're definitely. Well, you're definitely
I know I'm not her demo, but it's like I sat through it. And I'm like, I don't find any of this even amusing.
No.
But I feel the overall point is I feel like there's a lot of comedy that is becoming TED Talk, and maybe that was more 10 years ago, where now I think the society has realized that there's the Rogans, the Theo Vons, the Tim Dillons of the world, where it's good to be offended. It's good to have that out there.
Oh yeah, a lot of these guys got a platform, they got followers, they got this and that, and then they felt like, oh, this is my time to speak my mind and to philosophize. And the truth is, yo, bro, your philosophy ain't that great.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not Socrates over here. You're just.
But you find people still love to laugh at like ball busting and ragging on each other. And,
yeah. And listen, I think, by the way, comedy is having such a moment.
Yeah.
That it's actually just a great time in stand up in general, because it's like the one thing that, even though when you got money, when you don't have money, you want to go laugh. So it's sort of recession proof.
But did you think it was kind of dead maybe 10 years ago? Was stand up still as strong? I mean, it's like you said, making a huge comeback now because of platforms like podcasting and stuff. You get to know people.
It wasn't dead, but definitely podcasts have like upped the live aspect of it. People are making way more money now. They're just, and they're coming off these podcasts, and now live podcasts. Bobby Lee and Santino,
huge.
Those dudes are like, they're selling out like little major theaters off their podcast, and they just happen to be really good comedians too.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like a win-win.
Well, and Rogan's example one, right? Yeah.
I toured with Joe for 2 years.
Yeah.
He was the first guy that ever took me on the road. He was the first famous comedian that gave me a shot at opening.
Have you worked the mothership down there?
I have not worked the mothership
okay.
yet. No. I feel like me and Joe don't have we have no problem, but I feel like something might have happened like somewhere along the way that I'm a little
You became
bummed.
too Hollywood.
No. No. I just think, I don't know what it was. Joe likes, he likes his disciples. He's got his crew.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Some good, some terrible.
And I'm just not one of those guys that just jumps into your crew and, believes everything. But I love him for putting me on the road when he was doing Fear Factor, because it was the first time I was ever in front of 1,000 people, 1,500 people. And it was the early UFC days. So he would take us to all these gyms all over the country. We'd go into these gyms.
Get into the octagon.
No, by the way, I think that's why he's not having me on his show. I never would get in there because he would always be like, "Learn how to
Understandable.
roll."
Yeah.
I'm like, bro,
Yeah, you
I'm
just
like a
wanna make
boxing
jokes.
fan.
I'm a basketball player, not a wrestler.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to skip rope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not grappling. I'm not rolling with any dudes in this gym.
Well,
Well, it's the most violent homoerotic sport you'll ever see. We have the
Stand
toughest
up?
guys in the world. No, well, maybe that is too. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but UFC, I'm like, these are the toughest, meanest guys in the world who are trying to teabag each other in a cage.
I'm with it. I'm
like,
not
I
with
don't.
it.
I'm not. That's not my thing. And then you got somebody down on your knee and him in the chin repeatedly. I'm like,
I'm with you, bro.
where is this a sport? I mean, if you guys want to do this, do it in the alley. We don't need to see this shit on TV, but people love it, man. And maybe it's just the underwear.
No, but you know what the crazy thing is? Financially, UFC is like a huge brand.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, boxing still makes more money.
Really?
Yeah, globally.
Like worldwide? Okay, yeah.
Globally, boxing.
Well, you have the Eastern. Well,
Boxing just feels like it fell off the map. I remember when you had great champions at all the different weight classes.
Well, I
and
think
it
it
was a big
feels like it
event,
fell
and now
off
it's
the
like,
map.
who are they?
in this country because the heavyweights just kind of disappeared, right?
Right.
Yeah, but you had the middleweights with
but it was still
with
the-
Tommy Hearns and
always-
Hagler and Sugar Ray. I mean, it was just exciting people.
Best
in
era
every
in
weight
boxing.
class.
It really
Yeah.
was.
Hearns, Hagler, Leonard, Duran,
Duran, yeah.
John the Beast Mugabe. Those were the fights that you could not wait to see.
So I remember back Ernie Shavers when he would fight, and you still had Frazier and Foreman and Ali and those guys going at it, and one of the Spinks brothers, whichever one got his fur coat stolen. I think it was
Leon got his tooth stolen in Detroit. They stole his tooth, his gold tooth.
Oh man, it's a tough city. It's a tough city.
You can't come here talking smack about the Detroit fighters. I mean, listen, the Kronk boxing team. I'm wearing a Kronk sweater right now. The Kronk boxing team they probably produced 30 world champions
Yeah.
out of Detroit, starting with the Tommy Hearns, Hilmer Kenty, Milt McCrory, that whole era.
You still see Hilmer and McCrory around, and Tommy. Tommy every once in a while will roll up in either a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, and he'll just kind of like sort of wander. He definitely
Oh yeah.
took a lot of shots to the head, but these guys stayed local. It's kind of cool. In fact, you run into them on a regular basis at Thomas McGee's in Eastern Market because the proprietor there is a big boxing guy.
I heard that.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and they do a lot with taking fighters from Detroit to Belfast and fighters from Belfast to Detroit as a cultural exchange. But these guys will just show up at the bar and like, oh shit, it's a champ.
I need to go there. I've heard multiple times that that's a great place to watch fights, and they're big
Yeah.
fight fans there. And
Just
yeah,
tell Eric Olson ML sent you.
I will.
He'll take care of you.
I'm going.
Yeah, that's the proprietor.
Well, before we let you go, so you got the Ridley's Wednesday night, April 16th.
Tomorrow night. Yep.
Got hockey on Thursday, the 17th at 9:30 at Troy.
Psych, bro. Can't wait.
Good seats still available, by the way, for that. If you want some real comedy on Thursday night, watch me skate. But Mike's on Wednesday at Ridley.
And you mentioned Stealing Jokes, which
Yeah,
is a
my
movie
new
you wrote.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which-
I wrote and directed a movie called Stealing Jokes. It's out now on Apple and Amazon and all the streaming platforms. And we shot it here in Detroit.
Really?
Yeah, we shot it in Detroit, and we
I
shot.
know people were still making movies here.
Well, we don't have the
No
incentive,
tax credits. Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's such a great city to shoot in because the landscape is still awesome, and you can shoot at a cost. You can get stuff for cheap in Detroit, and so we shot. It's a heist film. And so it's about 4 comedians that go on the road and become bandits. They rob the comedy club. Michael Rappaport owns the club. They got to get him his money back, and everything goes south. And so it's a really fun movie. I'm proud of this movie, and I hope people keep downloading it because they're watching it
That's
all over
great.
the place. Yeah.
Where did you primarily film here?
We filmed
What areas?
downtown in the Campus Martius area. We
Okay.
filmed in the suburbs at like a house on like Walnut Lake. We filmed Masonic Temple. We
Yeah.
used like 6 of those. You go into Masonic Temple, you don't even know. There's like
know.
10 levels.
Oh.
There's a pool. There's a roller rink. There's a boxing match.
It's
There's
huge.
Jack White's theater.
Yep.
We filmed all over that place.
Yeah, every time you go to a show at Masonic, people are like, well, which room were you in? Like, what do you mean? Well, there's one that looks like a lodge, and there's one that looks like a theater, and there's one. I mean, it's an amazing place, and they do a behind the scenes tour, I think, from the Detroit Historical Museum that I've always wanted to sign up for, because I think it's the largest Masonic temple in the world, if not in the world, in the country.
It's got to be.
It's amazing.
I was just there on Sunday for Jack.
For Jack White.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, he was performing?
Yeah,
Saturday and Sunday.
Damn,
Mind
I wish
blown.
I knew.
Yeah, it was,
Damn.
it was something else.
Was it a
man.
secret show?
No.
No?
It's just it sold out, months ago. But yeah, God, that was
I
hell of a
love
show.
Jack White.
Have you seen him live?
Yes.
That's the first time he was one of my bucket list guys to see live. That was one of the first time, or that was the first time.
Yeah, thanks for calling me with that extra ticket, Mark.
I didn't have an extra ticket.
Oh,
Have you been to Third Man Records?
I have, yes, and we
Yeah.
talked to Ben Blackwell.
Yeah, Ben Blackwell
Yeah.
was on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I saw a band there when he opened that place that played on that stage, and I started following them. Have you heard of Dan Brown? Like the Dan Brown band, or
not-
Greg Brown?
Not Danny Brown, the rapper.
No.
No, I have not. No.
He had like this singer-songwriter dude on there, and he's signed with Jack White's label, and this guy was unbelievable. And he just played like a little cool, intimate show at Third Man, on that stage
Yeah.
that looks like it's just a prop, but it's actually a stage. I'm a big Jack White Stripes fan.
So I feel like every actor, every entertainer wants to be a rock star, and every rock star wants to be a comedian. Because, we talked about Chappelle. Chappelle goes up there and performs with Foo Fighters.
He's always singing. Listen,
And then Jack White does things with Conan. It's
John Stamos playing drums.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they always want to do the other
Jack
part.
White had the best of both worlds. He's a rock star. He played in Walk Hard, and in Walk Hard, he played Elvis. So he
Yeah.
was a rock star who was on a movie playing a rock star. I mean, that's
Jack White played Elvis in Walk Hard.
Yeah.
When he's
Yeah,
when
the parody of Walk the Line. Yeah.
yeah,
I love
when,
that movie.
When
Yeah.
John C. Riley is
Dewey Cox?
backstage. Yeah.
You
So
don't want this, Dewey. It makes you feel really good.
I think
you
I
don't
want to
get-
try some of the cocaine.
I love that movie.
Yeah, Jack's the one that does all the karate moves.
yeah, he's like, hey, watch out! You don't get away my stuff. It's fantastic. It's one of the all-time great cameos, and so I want to bring it all together with some Detroit. Dick Ritchie in the last time Michael Rappaport was in a Detroit-related movie. It was True Romance when he played Dick Ritchie, and then Jack White played Elvis, and then God rest his soul, Val Kilmer, greatest cameo ever. He played Elvis in True Romance.
Yeah, that's right.
You never see his face on screen, but he's really, really good.
Just like your Entourage, uncredited.
Way to go full circle.
That's what you get for stepping out on ABC. Well, Mike Young will be at the Comedy Castle on Wednesday. That's April 16th. I believe you will need a laugh on the 16th. And if not, like your taxes, he may bomb for you. So, Mike's your guy
I
on
got
Wednesday.
you.
And then we'll have him on the ice at Troy on Thursday. Good tickets are still available, no charge whatsoever. And then watch Stealing Jokes. You can find on your streaming services. Made in Detroit by a Detroit guy. Sounds like a great show. Mike, thanks for coming on, man. We could have you here all day, but
Thanks, guys.
but I know you need to get on that dryland training for Thursday. So I don't want to.
Got to get out of here, start wind sprinting. Gonna go pick up some new shoes.
Oh, yeah, run. I want you to run with that little parachute behind you.
That's the only way I run.
If your jokes aren't funny, that ought to crack people up.
You'll see me parachute running in Oak Park.
Oh man,
Come check me out at the Oak Park Hill. The Oak Park Hill. I know that's around here somewhere.
Bring a towel and a defibrillator. But Mike Young, he'll be there. Thanks for
Appreciate
coming in,
you.
Mike.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
March Madness may be over, but Market Madness may be here for a while. I think that's an understatement of the year. If you're having concerns over how the recent turmoil in the investing landscape could impact your plans and goals, call or text Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748. He may not have the answers, but at least you can be confused together. When you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. member FINRA SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Mark, Prince Harry has said he's exhausted by his lengthy legal battle to reinstate his police protection. Now, according to the Daily Telegraph, Harry believes that his UK security was removed to force him back into Britain and establishment life. Well, I'm exhausted by Prince Harry not wanting to be part of the royal family, not wanting to be in the headlines, wanting to just live his own private little life. Yet, he wants his children to be named Prince and Princess. He wants to get all the trappings of royalty. He wants to be treated as if he's a member of the royal family without being a royal family. Well, guess what? When you walk away from some stuff that maybe you wish you still had. So I'm exhausted by Prince Harry trying to not be a royal, but still wanting to be a royal without being a royal. He's a royal pain in the ass. That's what he is. And he's also our Geek of the Week.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
If you read my column this week, I talked about running into one of the more roguish members of the Detroit political culture, and he encouraged me to run for city council again, and I said I can't rule out that this is an elegant and subtle and diabolical plan to get even with me for writing about some of his crimes and misdemeanors, because sometimes people work on those many, many levels. And I think that's how Sean operates, because last week, after he had Average White Band booked into room 7609, we implored you to send us your suggestions and your stories so we wouldn't let Sean do this again. And he'd say, and so ML can't do this again with his old music from the 80s that nobody cares about. And you have responded. Lots of people wrote in, including DJ Weiser, who says, hello, ML Mafia. How are you doing? I found this band through Spotify. They're a band of 2 members from Brazil, newer band with only a few songs released so far.
A 2-member band?
A 2-member band.
Those are few and far between, right? White Stripes, Ting Tings. It's hard to find a 2-member band. Black Keys, 2-member band.
So if the Ting Tings broke up, would it just be
Ting.
one Ting? Oh, okay. Well, that's some Ting to look forward to. But,
oh my God.
Sorry about that. The comedy hour ended when Mike Young ran out the door. He did not walk. He ran out the door. So let's see what DJ Weiser has up his sleeve, and he's got a story on the backside. So here you are, folks. 2 members from Brazil with a song called Pet Sounds.
Beating so fast, try to come down. How long will it last? You've been on the streets too long, I know. Praying for someone to take you home. Feeling so alone, you wish there's no tomorrow. Whiplashed by the winds, lost in the pouring rain. I look into your eyes and see the depths of your soul. I just can't let you go. You're giving me all the love you have to give. So honestly, it's the only way you know. You're giving me all the love you have to give. So faithfully, our love will always grow. to a star to light our way. The love in our hearts will always remain real.
That's Trio of Two with Pets Song. So I apologize. I said Pet Songs. I was thinking of the great Brian Wilson album with the Beach Boys, and
one of the best albums of all time.
Pretty damn good. It was the Beach Boys responding to the Beatles, because Brian Wilson said when we heard Sgt. Pepper, we thought, or maybe when they heard Rubber Soul, they're like, oh my God, this is so new and exciting. We've got to come up with something. So they tried to push the envelope with Pet Songs. And then the Beatles heard it and they said, oh my God, the Beach Boys, this is something, we got to push the envelope. And they came up with Sgt. Pepper. Yep. And it's like, damn, you want to talk about a battle of the bands. That's the way to do it, man. Meanwhile, the Rolling Stones are just getting laid.
They had plenty of their own success.
Yeah, they're doing okay. Whatever happened to those guys? They haven't toured in a while, have they? Like maybe in an hour?
No, I saw a nice picture of Mick and his girlfriend.
You know, Mick looks the same way.
He would have been 40 when she was born.
Yeah, he looks the same way today as he did in 1960. Just kind of.
He really does, actually.
Like a piece of beef jerky.
So thin.
Yeah, but hey, man, I hope I'm still as
alive,
as lively as he is.
I'm alive.
Yeah. At that age. So DJ Weiser, of course, he sends us a story, because you know the deal. We want your song, but more importantly, we want your story. And so DJ Weiser says, if you remember, I was supposed to appear on the show to go over past shows. This was for, I think, our 250th episode or something. We're over 300 now. It was a while ago, but we want him to come on because he had just sort of binge listened to all of our shows, and we want him to come on and talk about the evolution of the show and what did he like. And he said, I can't do it. He said, I'm busy. I'm working. I can't get the day off. We're like, okay, well, that's fine. Well, here's the real story. He says, I was playing Caught Up. I couldn't get I was playing Caught Up. Talking about this. I was playing catch up. I couldn't get the day off, and I didn't want to be on just in case someone from work was listening to the show. Again, we are right behind Rogan, so there's a good chance someone you know is listening. The other reason why I didn't make it on, I had to put my dog Wrigley down on March 25th, 2024. So yeah, this was a year ago. We're on 250 shows. It was the day before the show. I was an emotional mess.
Oh, man.
At times, I am still a mess. This song makes me think of her. Lyrics are talking about the pets in our lives. I feel they're well-written lyrics. I know Erika has lost her friend. Of course, that's Hank, just an adorable little guy who is now, he's at the farm. He's chasing chasing rabbits.
They're eating the dogs.
Well, Hank might be a little chewy, so I think Hank is probably he's frolicking in the clouds. So DJ Weiser says, I know Erika's lost her friend, so I hope she doesn't get too emotional if she's in the studio. Well, she had to go to work.
She had to leave because she was too upset. She read it before.
You're off the hook, DJ. But unlike Sean, I do think Erika listens to our shows after.
A beautiful dog.
Absolutely gorgeous. I hope you like it. Seems like everyone loved Toasters, Talk is Cheap besides Sean. And then Extreme, Beautiful Girls, everyone didn't like. I hope you like Trio of Two, Pets Song. Cheers, Bill, DJ Weiser. It kind of started off, he sounded a little bit like David Bowie, I thought, when it came out. But you were saying it
reminded me of like those, those bands from the 2000s, like a Shinedown or, although they're Shinedown be a little harder. But, I don't know, maybe a Creed kind of the voice. I don't know.
I do feel like those vocal stylings
it wasn't bad.
Were very familiar, but for
Nickelback.
Why does everybody hate Nickelback, by the way? I don't listen to them. I mean, are they really that bad?
Well, I don't think everybody hates Nickelback because those songs got played all the time. I think if you hated them, it's because the songs got played all the time.
Is it just like Norm Macdonald joking about Frank Stallone? Where it just it becomes a punchline, and so they're really not that bad?
A little bit. I mean, they were played all the time. Same with Imagine Dragons, so people just really started hating them because they were overexposed.
Yeah, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. So Trio of Two, Pets Song. Thanks, DJ Weiser. We have more suggestions that we'll be playing in future weeks. So if yours doesn't come on next week, just keep them coming because we're stacking them up and we're going to knock them all out. And this, of course, is brought to you by the Caju Cafe. Wednesday night, the 16th, karaoke. If you're not going to go see Mike Young in Royal Oak, go to the East Side and do a little performing yourself. Get on stage for karaoke at Detroit's longest-running karaoke night, the Caju Cafe. Thursday, the Bill Myers Group Trio Open Jam Session. Again, Detroit's longest-running, this time jam session. Friday, Sean Jovi. I wonder what band they are honoring. Then Before the Flood. I wonder what band they're honoring. Bob Dylan, of course. Saturday, Revival, a tribute to the Allman Brothers Band. Sunday, just come and enjoy yourself. Just dig it. Monday, of course, it's Easter. They may be closed for Easter, but check cajucafe.com to find out. Monday, Tasha Owens and the Stable Dudes Open Jam. And, of course, it's Muscle Madness. All you can eat mussels. Lots going on at the Caju Cafe. Kitchen's open late. Great food, great fun, great times. Go to Caju Cafe to find out more. And we appreciate them sponsoring the podcast. This is the portion of the show, Mark, where we thank our donors, and we have one new member of the Soulmates. That's Tedda. So, Tedda, thank you so much for supporting the show. If you want to watch the show, if you want to get the show before everybody else, if you want to listen to the show without the annoying insertion ads, and if you want to get our monthly bonus episode, Eric has dialed up a very, very special guest for the April bonus episode.
Oh, interesting.
It's just $5. You can donate at higher levels, which we certainly appreciate, and there's different premiums that you can get with that. I think if you donated like $50 a month, we'd let you come and sit in on a taping of the show. So why don't you try us? Just
dare us.
Try us. See what happens. And of course, Soulmates will have special opportunities like the August 1st Soul Night at the Caju Cafe. So you're going to want to check that out. And I think we're going to try and get a pedal pub ride with the Michigan Peddler this summer with Erika and me and Marc and maybe even Sean. And we'll have limited seating. First choice will go to our Soulmates. If you're a Soulmate, you'll get the first crack at riding downtown, drinking beer, seeing the sights. So it's really worth joining. We really appreciate our Soulmates, and the support helps keep on us coming back week after week. Now, I have one piece of feedback.
Uh-oh.
And this is one I need to settle in for this one. It's going to take a minute.
Oh boy. Okay.
Emily writes, "Dear Mr. Elric," it's always a tough start. It sounds like it's a lawyer from the letter. "Two-part question about your Sunday columns and personal values. And this is in bold in case I miss the point, so much for subtlety. Your columns largely focus on current and former public servants and other bottom feeders accused of stealing relatively small sums, and also rehashing old criminal and financial issues, including personal bankruptcies and even bad checks."
Well, that's because they keep doing it.
Well, I think I would argue that the mayor of the city of Detroit, the Michigan Attorney General, the leaders of political parties, et cetera, Senate candidates, I would argue that those are not small people and bottom feeders, and that the things involved are not petty. They are, in fact, the most important things going. But that's fine. That's fine. So let's get to Emily's point. One, you're both a Catholic and a Democrat. I don't know about the Democrat, but it truly seems you don't ascribe to the concept of forgiveness. Forgiveness of sin is a core tenet of Christianity and Catholicism, and the Democratic Party is all about expunging criminal records, offering clean slates so people have a fresh start. MLive's editors won't even disclose candidates' personal bankruptcies anymore. Practically, and here's where I think Emily may want to check herself, practically every African-American family has relatives who've been jailed, imprisoned, and or in financial hot water. Well, that feels like an overgeneralization.
Yeah, broad brush.
And perhaps even racist. But anyway, even current county prosecutor Kim Worthy foreclosed on her house while sending her daughter to Cranbrook. Honestly, as a fan of yours, the tone of your column seems a little mean-spirited, like you don't think people deserve to even have gainful employment after getting in hot water financially or criminally. Should they all just go slink off and die somewhere? Since this question's so long, and so is the second one, let's address them one at a time. First of all, I am a big believer in redemption, and I just don't think that if you've betrayed the public trust that you should come back and try and make money off the public again. You should absolutely get back to work. You just shouldn't do it on our dime. Once you cheat the taxpayers, that's one strike, and you're out. And I'll give you a little example from my personal life. we had a handyman working on one of our houses in East Lansing.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a little sketchy, but he's a great guy. Always wanted to be paid in cash. Had kind of jacked up teeth. And this comes to bear in just a second. My wife ran him through Otis, which is the offender tracking information system, found out that he had been in prison for dealing drugs. And I said, well, that explains the teeth. I think we got a meth head doing work at our house. And she said, what do? We have young people living at the house. They are, young people, and we should probably be watching out for them. She said, so we never have him work here again. I said, no, we want to help people get back on their feet. And if somebody's willing to work as hard and as well as this guy does, how can we deprive him of that opportunity? So I said, here's what we'll do. We're going to set some ground rules. He will never be working on the house when the tenants are there. We will never send him there when someone doesn't know that he's going to be around, and we'll monitor his work. And he did a great job, and we never had a problem until he kind of disappeared. So we think he may have fallen off the wagon, but we continued to do everything we could to support him as long as he was a righteous, upstanding citizen.
You're a regular Ed Smart.
Oh, who's Ed Smart?
Ed Smart, remember his daughter was kidnapped, Elizabeth Smart, for months. You don't remember the Elizabeth Smart
Utah,
kidnapped?
was it?
Yeah, in Utah, and the person that ended up kidnapping her was a vagrant handyman that he had hired and given a second chance to, and then that's the guy that kidnapped his daughter.
Well, that's why
Brian Mitchell was his name.
That's why we would never schedule my man to come by when the tenants were there. But when you said Ed Smart, I was thinking Pam Smart's dad or brother or whatever. But of course, the murderous weathercaster from New Hampshire, from the seacoast. Number 2.
Oh, that's right.
Emily's still going.
Okay.
She's still going. While you take pot shots at pikers, do you lack the courage or perhaps permission to detail Dan Gilbert's more sophisticated theft of 8- and 9-figure sums from the public? Monroe Blocks was one of 4 mega projects tied to a state record-breaking sum of corporate welfare, with the original pitch proposing as an $830 million development, thousands of construction jobs, with 2 mid-rise skyscrapers and 500 new units of residential. Gilbert confirmed last week he's only building a dinky 3-story project and parking lot on the site, 0 new residential units, 0 new white-collar jobs, and it was unanimously approved by local political prostitutes. Hudson's, which also is one of 4 mega projects, is taking 10 years to finish, is not creating any net new jobs, and is much smaller than originally pitched. Q-Line was another scam, claiming no public money, then 5 years later cracking the public for $85 million cash.
I mean, she's not wrong.
Well, hold on a sec. How about a column detailing the billionaire's serial bait and switch fraud and calling for his state record-breaking corporate welfare package to be clawed back? I won't hold my breath seeing how you recently gushed in the column that welfare king Gilbert is responsible for Detroit's alleged revival. Happy Easter, Emily. So I must have missed that column where I gushed about Gilbert.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
But I think if you remember, check your Free Press subscription. I was the one who wrote the story about the Q-Line being a joke and about how state legislators during the lame duck session saddle all taxpayers with the bill for this billionaire's blunder by making us subsidize the Q-Line by diverting a tourism tax that we've been collecting. I've written about the Illiches failing to build what they're supposed to build when they say they're supposed to building after saying this time we won't leave you hanging like we did before. I've written about the mayor's problems. I've written about city council failing to claw back on these things. I'm the one who exposed that the city council said they should approve a tax break for Dan Gilbert before even studying the plan and force city council to go back and review their plans before they actually voted on it. I'm the one who wrote that City Council President Mary Sheffield had a fundraiser at one of Dan Gilbert's buildings before they had a vote on whether to give Dan Gilbert a tax break. I've written about mayors who were ripping off the city while they were still very powerful and while my family lived in Detroit as they do today and were subject to any police that they might want to send to our house or anybody who might later go to prison with him who might want to stop by and hit somebody in the head with a pipe or whatnot. So I would like to say I think I've taken on more than some small fries. I've taken on big people. I've taken on small people. I've called out the very Q line that you say I haven't called out. I've called out the billionaires that you say I haven't called out. So I've taken on big and small, and I'll stand up against anybody. And in terms of forgiveness, I think we all should be forgiven, but I don't think we should all forget. So, Emily, I hope that answers your questions. There's a PS here, but I think you've had enough of our time. And I would appreciate it next time if you'd kind of do your homework like I do before I write something this long. But happy Easter and happy Passover, folks. Speaking of the Q line, I do want to give you a little heads up on the Q line. My daughter was riding on the Q line last week, a weekday, 1:30 in the afternoon, going from Wayne State to downtown, and some older fellow came up to her and started saying some inappropriate sexual remarks, and then showed her a knife and asked her if she knew what that was, and she said yes, and then he put it away, and he said, well, you're probably scared now, and she said, I'm not afraid, and then he continued to talk some shit, and then when the next stop came, she got off, and she called me, I went to go pick her up, and we contacted the police, and the Wayne State University police are currently investigating. And the reason I tell you this is because my daughter was very shaken up, but really because what she wants people to know is to be careful when you're on the Q line or any public transportation. Be on the lookout, and hopefully the police will be able to get video from the Q line and apprehend this person, or at least tell people to be on the lookout for this person, because in the middle of the day, there were other people on the train. They did not do anything, but it's possible because he was speaking.
They knew? Yeah.
Well, it's possible because he was speaking in a low voice, and because he showed her the knife while kind of shielding the rest of the car, we think, from, the weapon, that they didn't see this. But listen, folks, if you see something, you got to say something. And here's what the police told my daughter. Anytime something like this happens, call 911 immediately and make a police report. So just be careful out there, folks. Yeah, be careful. So anyways,
she's okay.
Yeah, well, she's pretty shaken up and pretty upset. I mean, this is, we don't think these things happen, but they do. So just be on your guard, folks. We appreciate Erika being on the show this week. It's always a treat to have her here. She'll be back in a couple weeks with another amazing guest, Mike Young. Catch him Wednesday at the Comedy Castle. That's the 16th of April. And hopefully we'll have him back again. My God, we didn't think he's going to be on that long, but when he left, I was like, I want more stories.
Yeah, he's got loads of Hollywood stories.
Oh, my God. I don't even think we got one joke out of him. We had so many good stories.
No, the stories are great.
Yeah, we didn't even get any of his material.
We didn't even get to his Larry David story on the air.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
That went well in Entourage.
Oh, my God.
Reason to have him back.
Well, it's great to have great guests, and it's great to have a great audience. Please, if you see Luke, if you go to the CAD, you let him know that you found out about him from our show, and consider joining the Soulmates, because there's lots of great perks coming for members of the Soulmate. And the biggest perk is that we come back week after week. Mm-hmm. So until next week, we turn to our friend Cyrus to take us out.
Can you dig that? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
His name is ML Elric. He lives in a world of make-believe.
Marc, I love this guy. Always coming up with these great lines. I love him.
Nobody can remember his name. But by 11:30 tonight, the whole world will know that ML Elric is the new king of comedy.